Hello.
Hello, how are
Yeah,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, all right. So the same link that you and Divla have shared, or is it different?
Oh, I'm about to message in the group to use this one to avoid confusion.
Yeah, yeah,
Didn't know because I thought we said we were going to share it, but it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Um,
I think Peter came at around 9 o'clock and he phoned me that he was confused a bit same as me because like 1 hour ahead or 1 hour, you know, back.
oh yeah, all right. I think our
Okay.
clocks have changed as well, which makes it even more confusing.
When is the summer and winter time changes?
Did it?
Not now.
I think it's changed, isn't it? I don't know. I'm looking outside as if that's going to help.
All right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially the nowadays the weather, like you look outside doesn't matter. Yeah, we have plenty of snow outside here, plenty.
We had snow a couple of days ago,
All right.
which is not normal in March for here.
Yeah.
Um, how are you anyway? How's things?
Not very well because now I am discussing with the orthopedic surgeon about my, it's called HTO, high tibial osteotomy, like where they cut the bone and straighten, because I
Oh,
have this bow leg, like genus
yeah,
varum.
yeah.
So, and I've been having pain for a long, long time, and it's not helping. And they said, like, if I don't do that now, later on, I will have to have knee replacement, and they will have to do both legs. So, and it's
Oh,
quite painful operation. It takes 6 to 8 weeks of healing time and rehabilitation 6 months. And then they advised me to rest for like about 6 months and then take the other leg. So it's like more than a year of um, pain ahead.
oh, so frustrating.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
frustrating.
then I have taken a lot of commitments at work with a big conference and things like that. So hopefully, uh, there's a waiting time here also for the operation. So we discussed that maybe September I'll take that operation if they can make it early September.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you like, would you have to stay in, you can do that in Sweden or
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing it in Sweden. I think it's like because now, in Sweden you pay user fee to a maximum, and I have already paid the user fee, but I don't know how they count. Do they count annually or?
yeah, or
But
for
anyway,
the problem?
yeah, yeah, for any use of user fee for or medical care and services, you pay a user fee, and then it's a top up maximum. So when you reach the maximum, the rest become free. But I
Yeah,
think major operation is around 700 crown, like 70 pound. It's not a lot or something.
it's quite good. It's
Yeah.
quite good. Oh, it's annoying that that's happening, but I guess I don't know if it avoids a knee replacement in the future, it's probably good.
Yeah, they said like, if you don't do it now, so maybe think between 10 and 15 years you might have to have knee replacement because it's damaging your knee, the meniscus, the ligament, and showing the MRI shows like, it has quite
Yeah.
damaged the meniscus. And
The
it's not
thing,
a,
I was gonna say the thing is then you probably need more than one replacement,
yeah. uh,
if you have to, if you went through with that.
Mm. I should have done like, in Mauritius, we didn't think about it, like, and then maybe the services and thing. When you have bow leg, like me, I have, it's not very bow, like, so it's like a little bit. And this correction, I think it's easier when you're like, in your teen years. Then
Yeah,
they say there's some metal support can be removed, but now they will have to leave that support thing.
it's like a plate, is it?
Yeah, it's like a plate when they cut the bone. They
Yeah.
put like bone graft in between to straighten it, and then they put the metal support.
I'm on an orthopedic placement now. I
Alright.
haven't seen that, but I've seen knee replacements and hip replacements, and
Yeah.
I've seen the plates in the wrist.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I've been watching the video, like horrible. I've never been through operation, like, yeah, never been through anesthesia, but like, well, there's always a first time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the good thing is you'll be asleep.
And when you wake up, there's pain. I said, ask him, oh, what the range of the pain from 1 to 10? He said, like most patients says 10. So, so I said, like, well, how is it with painkillers and things like with morphine, it will be 5. So it's still 5. But I'm suffering like on a daily basis. I have a pain from varying from 3 to 5, on that
Yeah.
scale. So rather get it read. And he said, you will not become 25-year-old, but you will run, you will. Most of the patients say that after 6 months, 6 to, like, they are happy they did the operation and they fixed that problem, and it's a long-term thing.
That's good.
Uh,
Good that it actually works. There's evidence that it works.
yeah, I'll call Peter and ask him to join.
Emma is joining us. She's upstairs. She will join us
Mm.
shortly. I think she's
Okay.
in this overrun.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello, David.
how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? It's
I'm-
long. I'm
It's been a long time. I can't remember the last time we met.
Yeah, it was very long.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of stuff's happened, I guess. Or is this someone joining? How is it there in Mauritius?
everything good, yeah. But now we have opened a new office in Rodrigues, so we are concentrating in the Rodrigues office.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Anissa. I don't know if Anissa will join us. She has. She's not full time with GRF, so she's only on sectional basis. She come and see her patients only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. Hi, Peter.
Hello, everyone.
How are
Hello,
you?
Everybody. I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's been a long time since we've all been together. We were just saying.
Indeed. Hello. I'm very curious about the progress in the project, so we can talk more late about other things.
Yeah. Emma is joining us. I will just check where she is.
So it's Nile, Ayet, Divla, and me, right?
I think it's good that Emma comes, because Emma has been like doing some data input. So
Yes.
I think
I'll
we wait for her. Peter, I'm going to 2 major operations as from September.
Really? Tell me.
Yeah, HTO, that high tibia osteotomy, like, to corrections of bow leg. So they will cut and extract. And I've been watching the video. Oh, horrible.
I see. What hospital? Will it be Gävle Hospital?
Gävle. I heard that they have the new operation wing, operation theater that like been extended or something, but I don't know.
Okay.
It's horrible. Just watching
see.
the video and like asked like, oh, what will be the pain range? And he said like most patients say it's a 10, between 1 to 10, and then with morphine, like maybe it will be 5, and like healing time, it's about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Rehabilitation 6 months, and then they are planning for both leg, so
It's a big procedure, I understand, but I mean there are good pain killing medications, so they should help you with that. You shouldn't have that much pain, but it's understandable. Who will operate on you?
I think that he said that the one was most experienced has left the hospital here, and then they will ask someone from Uppsala to come to
Very
support.
good.
And then someone called Stefan Bahn, I don't know, I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway,
please check that there will be experienced operators. That's very important.
Yeah, and I asked the infection rate, and he said this. Well, most hospitals have around 1 to 2%.
Yes.
But even he said like even if it's infection, they detect and they can intervene and
Yes.
clean it.
Yes.
Well, it's another
Yeah.
procedure.
Yes. I understand. So yeah. But you
He
have
ha-
no date at the moment for that.
It's
no
September,
specific.
early September.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
because now I don't want to do it and then also don't ruin the what is called summer. And then also I have a big conference. I had taken a lot of responsibility, so I finish it end of August, then do it.
I see. Yes.
Mhm.
I don't know if you wanted to still wait for Emma. I don't. Basically, her last meeting started late and it's overrunning. She's trying to finish, but it's with a supervisor.
Okay.
So I'm wondering whether we start. She just told me she's trying to finish, but
Okay.
Yeah. Please start a bit with the overall status of the project, maybe.
As far as I'm aware, that Emma has been inputting the data, and then I gave a kind of like what is called a code list based on the theoretical framework that we have. And I asked Emma, like, how to start the procedure, and we had like a kind of discussion and a kind of coaching about how to do the codes in Atlas TI. And I know Emma had got access, and she has Atlas TI, the newest version. So that's good.
Yes.
So that's all that from my side. That
How many interviews was totally conducted?
I think 23 to 25 was it? Let me check.
We conducted 23.
Yeah, 23.
Fantastic. And what about the duration of the interview? What is the mean interview time?
I think it was, yeah, maybe Divla, you can, because you.
It was minimum, I remember 20 minutes, minimum, maximum, it might be 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Do we have that recorded somewhere so we can present that data, the mean time and the range, the minimal and the maximum?
I think
we have it.
I said I can go through, so I can go through and make a table because all the recordings are in the shared drive. I guess I can go through, mark the start and end, and just see how long each one was. Do you want a table of just that, or?
I think that Peter like to have.
Yeah, even though it's a qualitative study, I think it's a good quantitative measurements, and it's connected to how rich the interviews are. If they are very short, that indicates that we not completely interview them, but on the opposite, if they are more lengthy, it indicates that the patients really opened up, then they are more rich when it comes to content. So I think it's a parameter that it's good to have and describe in the method section.
Okay, but some we have not recorded from the beginning, because it's where the patient the patient read the questionnaire and he write. Then when we start talking, then we have started the recording.
Do is as good as you can, I think.
I think, I don't know, what do you think, Peter? But I think it's okay if the written questionnaire is not in the timed bit.
No, and if you're not sure, don't include those interviews you don't have data on the length. Just leave them out then I think. But it's really good. When I have sent similar papers to journals, they typically ask for that information because it's connected to the richness of the content. So it's good. If it's not too much work for you, it would be very nice.
As you can say, Peter, like, and others, like, this is the framework that we have, like, for coding, and the coding list is based on this framework. So most of the codes, like what we are looking in, that's the, like, the identity of illness, how they are talking, the timelines of the illness, consequences, causes of illness, control of illness, And then in terms of higher level, the illness representation, coping procedures and action plan, appraisal. So in what the interviewers are talking, like, you know, so interviewees, sorry. So this is how EMA is planning to code or is coding. I don't know.
Let me just see this. It seems to be a good framework. I think it's what is good is that it seems to be understandable. It's not too complicated.
Yeah, I think it's like based on EMA, we had some literature review, and it's based on this self-management, or like the theory that we had. I can't remember now. We have here. So it's based on that, like we developed and we decided that we can have this as a framework for coding the data.
Sounds very good. I'm a little bit curious about Divla's experience, because did you conduct all the interviews or half of them, or at least?
I conducted maybe half, and Anissa conducted around maybe 13. I did around 10.
Yeah. If you just speak freely, I mean, you have some pre-understanding of these patients, I suppose, before you interview them. I mean, if you would just give a very short summary, what's the key message? I mean, and was it something that surprised you? Are there something to highlight? So what I'm looking is that in this kind of project, it's typically 2, 3, maybe 4 things that are somewhat striking and something we should highlight and build the novelty of the paper, because all readers and all journalists want some novelty. They want something that surprises the reader or confirms the pre-understanding. So what would you say, what is the main findings if you just think about what they are telling us?
What I've found that people who do treatment at the private, or who are in a better financial status, their diabetes and all their physical conditions are better compared to those who are in a who do follow-ups at hospital, at public hospital, and who are not well educated.
So unequal access to high quality healthcare. Could you say that? Yeah.
I think like you know, this is interesting, and then we can pitch it to the self-care. You know, because our theoretical problem is the theory that we are planning to look at is like from this model about self-management and self-care. So
and many people, they don't know how to take their medication. They get it from the hospital, but they don't know. And sometimes during the interview, then I tell them, I ask them what are the medication they are taking. So sometimes they don't know. But when we see at the other kind of people who are financially at a better place, so they are mostly well informed about the medications, and they know everything, what is good, what is bad, especially about the eating habits compared to the other ones.
I think this is very important because you should think about what we find, the findings we have, what could that be linked to improvement in healthcare? And this seems to be that they seems to get information and education about their disease state, and they need to comply better or adhere better with the current medication. Is that correct?
Yes.
Another thing I'm very curious about, based on my pre-understanding, is what about the stigmata? I know that many of these patients, they suffer not only from the disease itself, but they also suffer from the complications and how other people look on them, if they have diabetic foot ulcerations and problems and bad odor from wounds and so on. Some of these patients, they don't want to meet other people due to those things. Did you see anything like that they didn't want to go to the beach because they had their problems and so on? I mean, did you see
Yes.
any problems in the social interaction in the family and other parts of the society?
Yes, especially in male patient, I've seen that where when they've got the foot also, or when they got amputated, they don't, as they cannot work, so they think they are worthless. They cannot do work, they cannot provide their family with their financial needs, so they think they are worthless. So they feel depressed. Sometimes they are angry excessively at anything. They shout when they smoke a lot. When the family members tell me, yeah, he smokes a lot, they say, shut up, you don't know. I'm like this. Sometimes they get angry excessively and they don't want to go out. And I've got patients who refuse to do the interview because they don't feel like, they feel like, no, we as if they are ashamed of doing the interview.
I think this is extremely important information. I mean, both from a medical perspective and a social perspective. I think this is a kind of key message here, because this is something. Why is it so? Is this something on Mauritius, or is it like this everywhere else in the world? Can we check the literature about it? And they are smoking. I mean, it's really bad to smoke if you have these diabetic problems. That will decrease the burden and impact of disease. So it's very irrational. So I think this is something really to highlight from a medical and a social perspective. What do you think, Ayit, about this finding? Hello?
Yes. I think Ajit, there's a problem with his connection.
Okay. So what, I mean, I don't know much about Atlas TI, but I think it's very good to have this kind of free discussion about how to frame the findings, because there will be certain themes, and what we just spoke about, like the stigma of the disease, the poor educational level, the poor compliance with medication and other efforts from the healthcare, and this unequalness between different socioeconomic groups. These kind of findings are very important to highlight in the upcoming paper, I think.
Oh, Emma is here, so let's hear from Emma.
Hello, everyone. Sorry
about the background noise. It's going to stop for a minute.
Hello.
Hello all.
Hello, Emma.
Hello, nice to see you all. Sorry I'm a bit late. So myself and Ajit has been very helpful in teaching me about Atlas TI. So we were trying to make a model. So I think you guys are seeing much of it on the screen already. So thinking about some of the things we want to extract from the data that we have already using our theory. Ajit, please feel free to chip in. At the moment, we're at the stage of inputting the data in. So, looking at how we're going to extract this best. I have to admit, I had needed a bit of a break, so I will be continuing this. I wanted to ask, I do think I'll need a bit of help to do that because I think there are quite a few interviews to extract. Would anyone be able to?
I think it's only you and me can do that, Emma, because
Okay.
the others, they don't have access to the software. So
Yes.
what you can do is like, I'll go to Mauritius next week, but like, it's a very time consuming things. We can do either this, like directly from the interview, we can code, or we can ask someone to transcribe it in English, translate and transcribe and write it. And then we can go quickly.
Actually, is that the best way? Is the best way if me and you transcribe it to English? I'm happy to do that if that's helpful.
But it will take double time. So my suggestion, as I was saying, that like, you know, what we need is the extraction and things like that. So my thing, like, it's to code, and when we have a quotations, inside the quotations, I had shown you, like, you know, how we can transcribe it there itself. So we don't transcribe everything, we transcribe and only the interesting quotations that we have. And when we code it in English, so everyone understands. And we have a coding list, so we are looking for these kind of things in the material that we have. And now, like, you know,
I think that's very wise to do. I mean, you need to condense all the fact, because 90% will be unimportant stuff. So I think that's the way to go, to condense it and extract the important key findings.
I think, like, also that because we are from different backgrounds, which is good and interesting, because there's a lot of social things in it here. So I was thinking maybe, like, Emma, you continue, because this is also very maybe this is the first time you are using Atlas TI, like, you know, it's a new things for you, it will take time, I can understand, and all these kind of things. So, and maybe it is also a good opportunity for you to learn by doing, right? And you are the more you do, the more you learn from it and things like that. So take your time and, like, do continually. I will try to find time, but I don't know, because it's take a lot of time to listen to it and code, and it would have been good if we can have someone to do it. But how do we give access? Because I have access through, not personal, but the university now, because this is a new version. You have version 23, Emma, right? Atlas TI, the newest version and things like that. So
is it that we go away, like, I don't know, maybe arrange to meet in 2 or 3 weeks, see how much progress we've made, and then we
Emma,
can work out.
How did it go? How did you manage to, like, go through one interview, or?
I've been able to extract the interviews and put them in Atlas TI, and I've
all of them.
No. The ones we have in the file, we have begun labeling all of them, because I think some of them we had some issues with the name, so we've put them in. I think, Ajit, maybe I'll touch base with you after this and just make sure I'm back on because I think I've had a bit of a break from it, so I need to get back to it again. And then once I am happy with that, I can carry on. Is that okay?
So let's see that, so that we don't duplicate. And this is very good when we are coding. Two different person codes, it enhances the rigor, and we can check our coder reliability, how you coded and how I coded, and the differences in our coding system that we can write in the methodology section. So that's, like, you know, so let's say, like, I guess the document uploaded for you and for me will be the same. That's what we have to check.
May I see an example of yours, Ajit, so I can see I'm coding it?
I'm not coded. I have not coded. I have just put the data. I don't think there's any code in it. No, you can see there is no quotation, no code. I have just uploaded the data. So what we can do, it's like, you know, we have you and me can give the same reference, so that we know, for example, this interview with Palani is number 12 in yours and number 12 in mine also. And for example, Gangaram, the same, like, you know. So once we have done this, so you can take half and I can take half. Is that all right? And then we can meet, and then we can compare, and then maybe we can merge it. So don't worry.
So you don't want to double code for now. You want us both to split it.
Yeah, I think it will go more rapid instead of you going to code all. I have 19. I know that they are 23. I have only input 90. I think they are 23. So we have to check the remaining one.
Now, did you find it? I think you were looking for them.
I'll go through and double check those.
Yeah, because as up to now I've got 19, but I think somewhere Divla said there are 23, and we have to check. That doesn't matter whether we have 19. I think usually in qualitative research, 15 to 25, you get saturation in your codes, and it's enough for writing. So we can write. Then when you have finished coding and I have finished coding, we will merge the project.
Okay,
But
I wanted to.
Sorry.
go on,
Yes.
Divla.
Yes, I can give you the list of patients that I have. Okay, hard copies, and then you can see if it is the same or not. The list of patient and the names, because I think some are patient numbers and some are the names, so it might be confusing.
Yes, we need to check about the numbers, because if we're going to split them, Ajit, I need to just know which ones you're doing.
Yes.
Is it an idea in the first instance then that I'll go through, make sure they're all named uniformly because we got the shared drive?
Yes.
I think from my memory, Divla, I was waiting on a document that matched patient numbers with names.
Yes.
Because I wanted to use that also to match the prompt, like the quantitative survey as well.
Tomorrow I will send you. But one thing, we were supposed to submit monthly report to the Research Institute of Mauritius.
Oh, right, okay.
I think Anissa has talked to you previously about it, so no report has been submitted. So I wanted a brief, like, I can do a report for how many interviews we have done and how long it took us. About this I can do, but on your side, what you have done, like a brief report, so I can add it on this and then send it to them.
It hasn't been, I guess it definitely hasn't been monthly, but I did initially, I was sending some reports. I can update the reports. I've got a template and
You can send me, because I don't know if Anissa has signed or not, but
okay,
I will check her and then I'll send.
Maybe in the report now, like you can put like now that we have input, like uploaded the material in a software, and then now we are going to proceed with the coding.
Yes. So what we basically need is what we call table 1 with some descriptive facts about the cohort, like the age, the range, and mean age, gender, and some other facts. So when the reader starts to see what kind of patients are there actually with this basic demographic facts, I think that's very important to understand what kind of patients did we actually interview. So I think we need a table on that information.
But I think, Neil, you had a quantitative element. You had something.
Yeah, so I did make a start, but I need the list. So if Divla said she'll send me the list of things tomorrow, names tomorrow, I can start matching up the patient names with patient numbers and complete that.
Perfect. Because then we can circulate that table, because that will be part of the publication.
And also it'd be interesting to see the duration of the problem they have been having, and like maybe things, all these kind of things. And I think that when you designed the questionnaire, it was there some interesting information. Although, as Peter mentioned, it is not a quantitative, it's a qualitative, but as a background information, the table number 1, it will be very important to give, because the reviewers will ask, where the details and things about the patient and all these kind of things. So
that's very nice.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Another comment, I know that this is very time consuming to go through the interviews and it's tiresome, but doing is that's actually the key element of success in this kind of papers, to really do that work properly. And if we do that, I think that will generate several papers with different angles, and that will give us the quality we need. And those people who are doing this tough work should be the main authors of the paper. I think that because that's very qualified work.
And then I think when you were not here, Peter and I discussed that maybe that we should also look at like if we can write different papers. I think like, you know, Neil and Emma, if you can take the lead of writing kind of from a medical orientation, a medical paper, like medical background for medical journal. And I will look at the data from a social science perspective. And of course, we will all be, and even if Divla is interested in joining us as author, she's welcome also, because she has collected the data, and it'd be good to be part of the
I think it's absolutely clear that Divla should be part of all papers coming out from this project.
Yes, of course I will.
Okay, good. And then so I'll put the remaining also, but take a social, although I'm the minority here because most of you are from medical science and I'm from social science. But for me, I will, because I went to a full professor interview and they said like, oh, you're from social work background, why are you writing about medical things? And I said like, you know, because I analyze the data and I like look at work with some multidisciplinary team. They said like, oh, but you should focus also on like, you know, having writing papers from your perspective and things like that. So I think this is why I want to take lead in one. We can do it in parallel. Yes. And it will be interesting. Maybe we can also have like something like, you know, the methodology can be not written the same because of like, but the methodology can, methodological approach can be the same. Okay. And the theory can be the same, but like the perspective, writing and orientation will be different. So in this sense, I think like it's also very important that like, you know, Emma, you do the data coding and I do the data coding and we can compare that thing. And also if like, you know, with Atlas TI version 23, it's very easy to integrate quantitative and qualitative. Recently we did a research and I can share one thing with you where we share.
What I'm thinking about, Ayet, is you remember our previous project together. It was actually very, very successful. We had a lot of troubles, people who were sick and so on and so on, but it ended up in a high impact journal. So I think that was a success story after a very long procedure. Maybe Emma and Niall, if you're gonna take the lead on one of these two papers, could just see that paper, because it's a kind of medical social perspective, and it ended up in a quite good journal. I was a little bit surprised actually, because I think if you have never written such a paper before, it's the very first time for me. It was not easy to see what will be the end product of this work. So maybe you could check that paper me and Ayet published, and maybe some other papers from you, Ayet, that could provide an example of what it will end up like. I don't know.
Yeah, good idea. Would one of you be able to share them?
Yes, I can. I can send it to you in the meantime here.
Thank you.
I'll have to go now, so maybe we can like agree that like we continue on the coding now, the process of the coding, and then maybe Emma, you and me can like, you know, take an like, you know, fix a time where we can discuss that. And Neil, maybe like you continue with your background thing, the table thing, and Ashen, and maybe also like I can see maybe when we have a clearer idea, I can identify a journal from social science, and maybe I have to look from about in the data if I get something about going back to work and working condition. I don't know if Divla in the interview, did you know about something about work and how this affect their work, the employment and things like that, right? That will be interesting for us because that's the profile of our university, also health promoting work life. So that's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay,
So,
for my part too, I will have to leave. So for my part, I think I will send Neil all the patient numbers with the names and everything. And I will request for a monthly report from your side what you have done. And I will do from my side, and then I will have to submit it to the Mauritius Research Council.
Divla, when is the deadline for that report so we can?
Actually, we already missed the deadline.
I will
It's monthly.
I will
Yeah.
I'll send it to you tomorrow if that's okay. I can draft it tomorrow.
Okay. Then on Monday I will submit it.
Okay, yeah.
So we aim for
Yeah.
Monday.
So for my part, I think is that, and if I will see with Anissa how she did, and then when there is to write the journal, we can always see. I think in 1 month, then we meet again.
I think that's a good idea.
That sounds good. So middle of April. Should we set a date now?
yes,
Um,
I would like to say one more thing before that is this Atlas TI is kind of black box still to me, and you are smart human researchers' brains. So while you're listening to the interviews and you're doing its codings, please just sit with a paper or a computer and just write down that this is something to highlight, this is somewhat surprising, this is a confirmatory thing, because I think that this will end up in maybe 2-3 things that will do everything for the paper. So it will be so much information and much of it will be useless, but there will be 2-3, maybe 4 themes that will emerge from the interviews that will really make the paper and make the impact and make a change in the healthcare, maybe. So bear in mind all the time when you're sitting with this flood of information that what is actually the key message here. Because it's so easy to drown in all this information, I think. So I think in the previous paper we actually had 2 key messages, and that made everything for the paper.
yes.
Maybe how it affect their work.
I think, I mean, what we are doing is actually we will, Ayet and Emma and I will analyze the data, and it will merge into some kind of themes or statements and so on. And then we will have, in the discussion part of the paper, I think we will have more perspectives. So we should separate what we actually find in this project. And then in the last or second last part of the discussion in the paper, we should have more perspectives. What can we do about it? What could the healthcare do about it? What could the society do? We shouldn't mix up those things. So what are our findings in the result section, and then discussing along with that.
For the next meeting, does 10th of April, Monday, suit everyone? I think
Is it not Easter holiday on that day?
it is.
Yeah, I think like I'll be traveling. I think I leave Mauritius on the 8th, and I will arrive here on 9, and then I want to spend the time with the kids after they will.
Sure.
They are not traveling with me to Mauritius, so let me see.
Maybe the week after.
The week after it like sounds better.
Okay.
17th of
Yeah. Could we do
Monday?
same time?
17 is quite booked for me. Like 10 I have meeting afternoon. The 18 thesis supervision.
Friday 14th.
Friday. It's Easter holiday, so the kids will be on holiday. So, and I'll have to take holiday also.
Shall I send a poll out with some availability, like a doodle poll?
I'm available on the Wednesday morning.
Of the 19th?
19th, yeah.
19th.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay,
Can
but
you
what
do it
time?
after 1 o'clock PM? Is that
No, morning.
morning? Okay.
Same time as here, like today. So it's fine.
I can't do that.
In the
date.
after, huh?
Unfortunately, I can't do that date. Well, let's find. Let me have a look.
Now it's on the, I think that's
Wednesday. Oh, 8. What you were suggesting? Which day? Monday, 17.
Yes.
yeah, that was the, yeah, I thought Easter
18. Yeah, 18 in the afternoon.
Yes.
Okay.
18 afternoon, right?
What time would that be at dinner?
1 o'clock you can put, a 2 o'clock or 3. It's okay, depending on Divla, because that will make a difference for Divla.
I think one.
One.
One would be, yes, one is okay.
This UK time or
That's you. 1 o'clock
UK
Swedish time, so it will be 2 o'clock. Where 1 o'clock UK time. So you are at the back, like we will be ahead. 2 o'clock Mauritian, 2 o'clock Swedish time. That will be 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
is that okay with you, Divla?
5 o'clock. It's a Tuesday, right?
Hmm.
Or you can a bit later. It's okay.
For me, it's okay.
3
o'clock.
3 o'clock. Then it will be 7. It will be better for me.
That's better
Okay.
for you, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, how about you?
I'll be in clinic. I will try my best to attend. I'll be in clinic at that time, but no problem. I will.
Okay.
And
Okay,
Emma,
thank
you can suggest me a like time and date, like and then maybe when you are free, then we can discuss when you have gone through that data.
I just need, before that, I just need to split which ones we're looking at so we don't duplicate work. But I can message you separately and just make sure we're looking at different.
Yeah, you can give me the patient name.
Yes.
Okay, so
yeah, we need to wait for the
So I'll
list,
go through and make sure they're all named correctly first, and then
and then we'll. Thank you.
all right.
Okay.
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 Nice to see you.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Where's it gone? I think it just